So, the question tonight that I have for you is, in your own story, are you the hero or the villain? Like, so, I guess you would say, what do I mean? And there's a funny thing with this. It's kind of, how do you identify yourself? Are you the one that's the knight in shining armor that always comes in? Or are you the schemer that's the villain that is always causing issues? And those are the, that's the question that I pose to you. And most of us, at least myself identifying wise, would say villain for most of my life. Whether what I identify now is maybe different, but for most of my life, most of all of my life, I've always identified as the villain of my own story. There's reasons behind this, and the biggest reason is villains are always flawed. They always show the flaws of the villain. You know, we don't see the hero having flaws. You know, they try to bring it in a little bit right now. You see Batman, you see some of his story, but as I was growing up, you saw the Joker's flaws and the Penguin's flaws and Iceman's flaws. The Riddler, you saw his flaws. So there was always flaws to every single one of these villains, and they're easier to relate with and easier to relate to, especially with, you know, never measuring up in society standards. And most of the villains that I talk about, they're noble in what they want to do. So they have that nobility in the cause they have. We even have, you know, we have like one of the most famous series, Breaking Bad. And Breaking Bad, most people would either relate with Jesse or Walter, and wanting to do those two things, and wanting to make the money and have the notoriety. Not too many people are going to be like, yeah, I want to be Hank, the one that gets killed by all the villains. Nobody's going to relate to being him. It's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. He's not powerful enough, and he's not intelligent enough, and there's just no real core attributes to him. Even when we really talk about drug dealers, you know, you look at Scarface. You know, why does everybody want to be a drug dealer after they see Scarface? Because the power that comes behind it. One of my favorite series in the whole world, you know, Fast and the Furious. Vin Diesel was the Fast and the Furious, still is. He's the reason the show is what it is. The family aspect, you know, even though they were robbing trucks and doing all this, Paul Walker wasn't the series, because Paul Walker was just kept around to keep the series going. So those are kind of the things that we as people relate to, and it's not bad by any means to relate to something like that. You need to become the hero. And we saw that for anybody that doesn't know the Fast and Furious series, we saw that Vin became the hero. You know, they even said to Brian in the series, you know, Mia said to him, you know, maybe you're pretending to be the good guy. And that's even more dangerous. So are you the hero or the villain of your own story? Who do you relate to, and how do you become the hero of your own story? Because even villains, even if you identify as being a villain, you can be the hero. There is hope for that. Don't think that it's always going to be the one way because you were treated a certain way. Stay frosty. Think about this one, and just keep it positive no matter what it is. If you start getting in a bad space mentally, it's not healthy. Do whatever you can to get out of that bad mental state into a healthy mental state. Be the hero.